So you're aware.
So we have a quorum, don't we?
A quorum, yay!
So was Nate, did he officially resign 2 weeks ago? Was that
Nate,
effective immediately? Not Nate, I'm sorry. Oh, Brother Karras.
Nate Karras?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said
Say it right.
he's going to be moving, but he's not technically resigning until he knows for sure. But can you send me an aerial picture?
So then if he pops in, then Julie will be an alternate. Well, maybe not. One.
Yeah, we'll soon.
No, she'd still be. Yeah, you're still with us. Yep.
Well, I would be an alternate then if he has not resigned. So
He's not. I know Dean is not coming today. So
okay.
Julie, you are official
Okay. Okay, thank you.
commissioner. I'm just waiting to see how many people. Yeah.
It's really weird. I'm sitting, oh, I know what it is. Oh, that's what it
There you go, Aaron.
is.
Sorry, my camera on my laptop, the little shutter was closed, so I couldn't get it figured out.
All right. I got to get that light out of my eyes. That's why. Okay, it is 5:59. We'll wait a few more seconds.
How are you, Jill?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thanks for the invitation.
No problem. Ready whenever you are, Keith.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Planning Commission meeting. We'd like to welcome those who are on YouTube, and thank you for joining. We'd like to begin by asking if there would be someone to volunteer for a prayer or expression of thought. Please.
I can say the prayer if you'd like.
Thank you.
Our Father, which art in heaven, we're so truly grateful for this opportunity that we get to meet together with the Planning Commission to go over things that are important to us. And we're so very grateful for everything we've been given in this great country that we live and all the wonderful blessings that come from it. We're truly honored to live in this great state of Utah and to be in this area in Pleasant View. We love thee with all of our hearts. We pray that the Spirit can be here this evening, and we say these things humbly in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Beautiful prayer. Okay, we have to make the declaration for the pandemic that we're in, so bear with me, please. In accordance with Utah State Code, Section 52-4-207, Paragraph 4, Section A, I, Keith Priest, Pleasant View City Planning Commission Chair, hereby make the following declaration: that a state of national and state emergency has been declared in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and that Governor Herbert and Governor Cox has entered the emergency declaration for Weber County issued July 24th and extending to January 28th. And the state code has been amended to allow for the conduct of electronic meetings in an emergency without an anchor location, and that the Planning Commission chair shall read or cause to be read at each electronic meeting the reasons and facts behind the declaration. And therefore, Pleasant View Planning Commission shall hold electronic meetings as provided for in state code. Signed, Keith D. Priest. So there's that. Next item is we'd like to give an opportunity, I think, members of the commission, hopefully you've all looked at your packets. If any of you need to ask to be recused because of any potential conflict of interest, we'd ask that you do that now, please. Without that, we'll go ahead and ask for an approval of the agenda and the minutes from the January 14th Planning Commission meeting.
Can you hear me, Keith?
I can.
Jeff was able to send some corrections on the meeting minutes. Nate was actually not there and Jeff was there. So Those are the only corrections I've heard. So when you make that motion, make it with those corrections, please.
Okay, thank you.
I will motion to approve last meeting's agenda with the correction of Jeff was there and Nate was not.
So
Did I do
you
it right?
made a motion, you made
Oh
a
no,
motion.
I didn't do it right.
Okay,
We're so close.
you were close.
Minutes.
So you made a motion to approve tonight's agenda
Oh,
and the meeting minutes from January 14th with the changes of Nate being present, sorry,
Jeff being
all
present.
right, Jeff being present and Nate was not present, correct? Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Thank you, Ashley. Do we have a second?
I'll be quiet for the rest of the time. I promise. Here we go.
It's
No, you're
awfully
good.
complicated, but I'll take the risk and second it.
Okay, thank you, James. Any opposed, say aye. Okay, we'll move on to the agenda then. First item is a discussion decision, minor subdivision named Seitzinger, hope I didn't slaughter that, Winsler of 3 lots located at 973 West, 3200 North, and the neighboring parcels, parcel 17-062, -0124, -0121, and -0122. Jill?
Okay. And just so you know, Jeff, you are the alternate just because we've got everyone else here. You can
Okay.
participate within the discussion. You just can't make a motion tonight.
Okay.
So with that being said, let's jump right in. So here's the subdivision. It is located, if you can tell, right here is the new Orchard Springs Elementary School. I don't remember what it's called. We have this little stub of a road, 975, and if you kept going, you would run into the Blaisdells. So it's consisting of 3 actual lots. Brian Blaisdell, if you look close, you can see this little sliver. He owned that. So it was going to be 3 lots. There was a little teeny adjustment, which I will show you in just a few minutes. But really there's only going to be 3 lots. There's going to be a remainder parcel, which I'll explain that in a second. All the infrastructure's there, the road's there, curb and gutter. They're not going to be dedicating anything to the city, so that's why it's a minor subdivision. They had the will serve letters, and really the biggest reason why they had to do this minor subdivision is because the 2 outer lots were not accounted for and weren't part of a subdivision. So by doing this minor subdivision, it's making those 2 lots buildable and accounted in the infrastructure and all the impacts and everything. So just so you know.
Okay.
Here's the application. There's 3 owners, so that's why there's 3 affidavits. We've done all this by our ordinance, so everything's set there. So in your packet, it shows actual 3 lots. This was that little sliver where Brian Blaisdell actually owned that. The idea kind of changed a little bit. And this is part of the red lines as the condition, just so you are aware, which Aaron and Brock and Brian all know. They actually sold this to the Godfreys, which live right there at the bottom. So this is actually, it's not a buildable lot. So it's not a lot. It's a remainder, or it's a remainder parcel. They can't build, they can't do anything to it. So down the road, if they decide to sell it to whoever owns one of these parcels, they do it and they combine it, that's fine. But for right now, it's going to be a remainder parcel. And Aaron owns this parcel. I'm doing it on my screen, you guys can't see it. Lot 1 is Aaron's. Brian owns this lot 2. And as you can tell, they shifted the lot line a little bit. If you remember, this came before you guys on a rezone to rezone this parcel from RE15 to RE20 and this parcel from an agricultural zone to an RE20. So it fixed the size of the lot, and the Brock owns lot 3. So the red lines really are just very minute details, which are just to make sure the plat, closes and has everything that it needs to in order to be able to be recorded legally with the county. We see absolutely no issue whatsoever on the engineering side or the planning side or anything else. They've done their due diligence, got the will serve letters. So as staff, we're recommending with approval along with the conditions of the red lines.
Jill,
Yes.
or Keith,
Please.
I should say our chair here. I've got a question on that strip that has been sold to the Godfreys. Who's going to, then it will be the responsibility of the Godfreys to do maintenance on that strip. It looks like a fairly narrow strip. And I know maintenance wise, they will be held accountable with what we already have in our city ordinances. But do we know what their plans are for that strip, or how easily is it going to be to either mow it or keep the weeds down so that we don't have these 2 lot owners complaining about this narrow strip of property that's not being kept up?
So from what I understand, and Aaron, help me if it's different, the Godfreys wanted it so it'd be a walkway for their children to get to the school easier rather than going all the way around.
Okay.
So we would hold them accountable just like anybody else in the city of Pleasant View. They will have to maintain and make sure the weeds or the grass or whatever is there is taken care of. So just having it being a remainder parcel doesn't make it any different. We've got to keep them accountable for their own.
Yeah. I was
So
just.
that is private property then, correct?
Correct.
So they can use it for that walkway, but they have to maintain it.
Correct, because it's their parcel, they will have to maintain.
Okay. And then I had a question, Jill, on, can you put those lots back up again, please? Not the colored, but the individuals. Lot 1, 2, and 3.
That one? 1, 2, and 3.
Is it sharing?
Can you see it?
Sharing on another screen. Dang, I have too many screens open. So you said lot 2 and lot 3 are RE20?
Yes, they are RE20.
And lot 1?
Lot 1 is RE15. So
Did we already make that zoning?
yes, it was
For
done.
the one lot to be 15 and the other 2 to be 20?
So lot 1 and lot 2, or sorry, lot 1 and lot 3 were originally RE15. And lot 2 was A2, but it wasn't 2 acres at all. So when Brian wanted to, and Brock were going to exchange a little bit of the property, so the property line was going to change. In order to keep that lot 2 compliant with the city, we had to have them rezone, which they did. And then that's why that line shifted a little bit. You see that little tail at the very end.
Yeah, I vaguely remember seeing this, yeah.
Keith, may I ask, are there any houses on any of these? What's situated on 1, 2, or 3?
Lot 1 and lot 3 do not have any homes whatsoever. Lot 2 has had a home there for quite a long time.
So
Now,
remind me.
Jill is.
Can I finish my thought here? Just give me a couple quick questions, because I know that's where it's sitting. So remind me, Jill, where it sits. The lot 2, where does that sit? It's on the front part of that of the lot. Is that right?
Yes, it's on the front. It's about in the closer to the front half. We'll put it that way.
Okay. So is there any way? Go with me with my thinking here. Because I know that something could happen. I know that right now the Godfreys have a walkway path in mind, but is there any way that we can have wording so 5 years down the road, someone doesn't try to sell that little pathway and try to have a private road and do a flag lot, split lot 2 in half because it's right close to a half acre, now go to an RE15, match it to lot 1, and now say, oh, well, I'm gonna have a flag lot, split lot 2 in half, and now try to put that into 2 lots and split it in the future. How can we create our wording to reinforce right now the fact that we do not allow flag lots in Pleasant View?
If we were to ever change our ordinance and allow them, then that would be, I mean, they'd still have to maintain their setbacks, but we don't even allow flag lots right now at all. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's not in our ordinances. So
do we just need to reinforce that? Or I guess I just want to make sure that that's not kind of a thought just down the road.
So if you can see, the house sits here, there's a building right here. So, I mean, they can't split it and have a house and maintain all the setbacks that would be required.
Here,
Okay.
Keith, may I mention something?
Please, Sarah, go ahead.
I see Andy's thought process, and Jill's absolutely correct in saying that we don't allow any of those particular things, but just as a side note for legislative items, you can, or even, ordinances, you can't make it, you can't put something in place that cannot be changed future. Does that make sense? You can't put a restriction on that say never, 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 ever, period, when you rezone or whatever else, that this property won't apply. If the rezone if the ordinance is changed in the future, it applies to this property no matter what.
That's correct. I think
Jill?
Andy understands that.
Jill, I've got a question. I drove down there to kind of get my bearings, but sometimes you have an address and there are a number of vacant lots. So there is like an old pioneer kind of home right there. Is that the home that we're talking about, or where are we in my bearings?
Here, I will pull up a different shot for you guys that you can.
A pioneer home, huh?
Yeah, there was like an old pioneer home on the right. I actually, was maybe confused which vacant lot this was.
It might not let me know. I can't.
Okay.
Google Maps has not updated.
Okay.
The house that you're talking about, the Blaisdell's home is older.
Okay.
It's actually a very beautiful setback home.
Okay. So that's probably the large area I was looking at.
Yes.
That has what looks to be an old pioneer home that has been beautifully updated.
And if I can, this might be a good
Okay.
shot, but you can see this portion.
It's really pretty. That house is gorgeous.
Okay. I now know where,
So
where
you
I
can
was looking at.
tell, here's the houses, there's 2 buildings.
Yes.
And here's clearly one, lot 3, but with the purchase, there's a split right here that would go to this lot.
Okay.
It was previously a orchard. And then here's the other lot.
Yes.
It's not as, clear and clean to see, but it was another orchard.
Okay.
And so once this is minor is taken care of and there's homes, it will blend in with the rest of the.
Well, that little narrow piece then that currently has trees on it, would it be the owner's responsibility, the Blaisdells, to remove those trees if they wanted to?
That strip right there?
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
the new owners. So if the Godfreys wanted to be removed, if it's on their property, then they can remove it. If it's on Aaron's or Brian's, they would remove it if it was on theirs.
From the aerial, it looked like it would be on the Godfreys. Is
It's
that correct, Aaron?
I can't tell.
So their strip is 20 feet wide in the front and in the back, and then down the middle between the property line for the Blaisdells and our property line, there are trees along the Blaisdells property line, and there's I believe it's a black walnut oak or black walnut tree that's out there, a really tall one. It's pretty. So that's on the property line, and then in the middle there are not any trees, and then there's a few small fruit trees that are on our property line. And if we decided to maybe later down the road do some type of vinyl fence to divide those two properties, then we'd probably have to remove those as well. But I don't know if they have any plans of removing the big tall ones. So, but they're not in the middle of the walkway. And yeah, if you know the Godfreys, they maintain their property where they currently live extremely well. In fact, when we went back there to scout the lot out, we were just blown away with their grass. So in my mind, I have no doubt that they maintain that strip really well in addition. So
Well, my concern actually is for you and the lot to the east. I mean, what happens if in the future there's some kind of I'm trying to think of an example, but there's some kind of a argument over property rights and who gets to access that and whose tree is this, and this tree is grown on my property line and it's now yours, and so it's your responsibility to tear the tree out, not mine.
That would
Can
be
we
a civil
mitigate
matter.
some
We
of
don't,
that?
that's a civil matter. We don't get involved.
yeah, and I've talked to them a little bit already. So I mean, I talked to Becca and Jeff, and I mean, if we decided to do a fence down the road, they're totally fine with removing the there's a few smaller fruit trees there, and it's not a big issue for us. I guess down the road, there are those larger trees that would be, you know, between the Blaisdells and the Godfreys at that point. But everybody in that little area just seems so nice. And I mean, obviously things may change when you actually have to do something, but I think that they would work with each other instead of against each other personally.
Okay. And Jill brings up a good point. That would be a civil matter, not a zoning issue. So, okay, commissioners, any questions to the applicant or Jill?
Keith, may I ask a question real quick, if that's
Please.
okay?
Yes.
Just for reference, or is this coming to city council as well?
No, minors don't.
And so that's right, it's a minor part of me. So my other question is the easement and stuff being recorded with the title?
Mhm.
Okay,
It's
so
not an easement, it's an actual part. It's a remnant parcel. So
okay,
it's
so
not a
that's,
buildable. It
Okay.
says remnant on it.
it's going to be recorded correctly. So
Correct.
that actually helps take care of any future conflicts when the title and the deed restrictions are spelled out with the home ownership and so.
So it's part of the red lines. It's going to be a remnant parcel. The Godfreys are going to come in and sign it saying that they're aware that it's part of this subdivision. It's not a buildable lot.
So future owners, if the Godfreys move and sell their property, it goes with the sell of property? It does not?
It's, for example, if they sell their home, this is separate. It's a remnant parcel on its own. So for example, if I owned my house and then I owned a portion across the street, if it has two different tax ID numbers and I sell my house, this other parcel doesn't go with it. It's completely separate. If I decide I want to sell the remnant parcel but keep my house, I can do that. That's fine.
So the Godfreys could sell it to a third party if they chose.
But it doesn't, because it's a remnant parcel, it's not buildable.
Right. I'm just saying
Yeah.
for future discussions of property owners and what you do with fences and trees and stuff, it doesn't necessarily go with the sell of the property if they move. It's
So if
okay.
Jeff,
Just for reference. Thank you.
if Jeff and Rebecca want to sell their home and then later down the road they decide they don't want that remnant parcel and they sell it to Aaron or Brian, and they decide, okay, well, we'll just make our lot larger.
Or sell it to Julie Farr. It doesn't matter.
So
I'm just for conversation, that's important, at least for me to know.
no, yeah,
You know, so.
I doubt they would sell it to a third party. I would
Right.
assume that they would sell it to someone within that area because they really can't do anything else with it.
Absolutely. So thank you for
Well,
that.
that kind of complicates my question a little bit more. So I was thinking that the Godfreys would incorporate that strip into their property,
If they want to, they can. They would.
but they're
have to
not,
come in
that's
for
not
a-
what's being proposed.
No, if they want to, they can. They would come in with a lot line adjustment. I mean, which is.
Okay, so
easy.
let's say that they want to get rid of that and they just advertise it to sell, and then somebody comes in, they buy it. They own that now. The new owners own that little piece. I'm just giving a hypothetical, correct? And if they own that piece and they look at the property line and there was these big walnut trees on, they have every right to go to 973 and say, you need to remove those trees because they're on my property, correct? Now you're saying it's a civil matter, but I'm saying it's actually a property owner matter. Because if they buy that property, then they have a right to have a clear deed line.
It's a civil matter between the property owners, not.
Yeah, the city doesn't enforce that. That's a civil
No.
matter between the property owners. If,
Right.
yeah, that's still a dispute that they
But
take
going
care
along
of.
with my hypothetical, and this, Aaron, I think will appreciate, if that is sold separately and somebody wants to buy that ground legally, it could be a civil matter, but can they force 973 to remove those trees?
I'm not
Don't
gonna
know.
say anything because we don't get involved at all.
Okay, all right, fair enough. It's such an unusual thing. I've never.
It's not common, we'll put it that way.
No,
Not
I've
common at all.
never seen them before.
It
So,
almost seemed that you would do a lot line adjustment and just acquire the property.
that's what I thought.
That would seem
Godfrey's
logical,
easily
but
could. The Godfreys easily could, but if they want to, they'll have to come in and do that.
yeah.
We're not gonna make.
And they've got a good
No.
reason. I mean, their reason is for an alley for their kids to get to school. I get it. That makes sense. That's a nice thing to do. Keeps them off the busier streets, especially 1000. So,
Well,
okay, any other questions? Okay, then we'll entertain a motion to approve or deny agenda item number 1.
With the conditions listed.
Yeah. Chairman, I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion based on the discussion and staff report to approve the minor subdivision application of 20.036 located at approximately 973 West, 3200 North, with the conditions listed in the staff report, which include the red lines from the engineer being addressed.
Perfect. We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that beautiful motion.
Alicia, thank you. And are there any opposed? Say aye. Okay. It's been approved. Congrats. Good
Thank
luck.
you guys so much. We appreciate this.
All right.
Hey, Aaron. and
Thank
Brian, I
you.
will
Appreciate you
email
guys.
I'll
Thank you so
email
much.
Tomorrow.
Well, I'm so sorry. What was that?
I'll email you both tomorrow.
Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate all your work on this.
Hey,
Yes, thank you, Jill. This was a unique one. We appreciate it.
thank you guys.
All right. Take
Yeah.
care, you guys.
Have a great night.
All right. Item number 2 on the agenda, commission communications. Anything that we'd like to discuss openly amongst ourselves as planning commissioners?
Yeah.
Thoughts, concerns, daggers?
Jill, I
You
have
guys are quiet.
Mr. Chairman, Keith Brees, I have a question.
Sarah, you can jump in anytime you'd like.
So the training that you sent to all the commissioners that I was tagged on that email, is that the same training that just open public meeting training, the same thing that we get for city council? It's no different.
Yep.
Okay. Just wondering. That was my
Commissioners,
question.
anything? Okay. I don't have anything. Staff communications.
Just to remind you, the email that I sent out, the first email that had the ethics, it had to be notarized. It changed, so I sent the new one out that doesn't have to be notarized. I'll send it again tomorrow in the morning if you can't find it. So I need that one signed, and the disclosure, no, yes. So, sorry, too many things going through my brain. And then if you were able to read that open and public meeting, will you let me know? I've only heard from a few of you. We've got to get that done before too long. And it's just, I think it's front and back of a sheet. It's actually not complicated. Just if you read it, shoot me an email saying I'm done with my training so I can mark you off and call it good. All right.
Okay. So you sent 2 items that needed to be notarized originally. Then one of those you sent back and said doesn't need to be notarized. Does the other one still need to be notarized?
It'll be fine if you send that one.
Now, Jill, just
Huh.
wait. Can I ask just for clarification? Last year we signed it if we had an issue, but this year we sign it no matter what.
So there's the conflict of interest, which is different than the ethics. So there's 2.
Okay.
The ethics one, I need you to sign. If there's a conflict, for example, Keith works for the church. If there's projects, that could be an issue. You know, Jeff works for E.K. Bailey. That could be an issue. So it's just saying, hey, just so you're aware, this is where I work. There could be a conflict, but they know they'll step back if there is one.
Okay. Jill, would you be willing, just because it was a while ago, I remember, I think I responded to you. Would you maybe send out an email saying who you got what from or what you need from each of us? Because I don't know about everybody else, but I'm now confused what I did or didn't do.
I'm planning on sending the email out so that way you guys can, I'll get that done.
So I sent my 2 signed. Are you good?
I'm double checking yours. I've got yours, Alicia's,
Kimberly,
and Jeff.
I think mine.
So I'm checking with Laurie tomorrow to make sure if those are good enough or if she needs you to sign the different one that doesn't have to be notarized. But I'll let you know. And then did it help having that motion on there with the packet?
Sure. No, that's
Yes,
great.
I used it, Jill.
Good. Hey, that's what we'll do every time I send the packet.
I used it, adapted it.
Yeah, I need to print it out and have it like on my desk, ready to read when it's time.
Oh, you know what? Okay, here we go. Print it out on my
Look at
desk.
that. There you go. All right.
Before you sign off, do you want to hear a couple things? Unless you are going to say something.
Well, I was just going to turn the time for Jill for staff communications, or maybe she's already had it. I guess she already had it.
That's it for right now.
Okay.
It's
Go ahead,
been
sir.
crazy the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Unless does Amy have anything? I don't know.
I don't have anything to
Amy.
say. Thank you.
We've been
I
busy.
didn't see you sneak in. I don't know how I didn't see you sneak in, but I did.
I've been here. No, I've been here, but yeah,
She's
The
been
whole time?
very quiet.
I've been listening intently.
Go ahead, sir.
Well, I was just an update with our joint meetings with City Council with Economic Development. I've talked to Jill and Amy. They're going to get together with Chris Roybal and Holland Eubanks and kind of give, follow up on the last meeting and get some direction of how we want to proceed, to a timeline of actual things to move forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Discussions and topics and moving in a direction to accomplish things. So they'll get with them soon and we'll resume those. And an update on Founders Day. The Health Department met with the mayors in Weber County. And so we don't, as of right now, if we were to hold Founders Day today, it would look like it did last year. And so we don't know what it will look like moving forward. We're going to start with just kind of the nucleus of our committee of moving forward, and probably the direction that kind of we got, I think, if help me out, Amy and Jill, since you were in the meeting too, that kind of planned 2 versions of what it might look like. The regular, what we do, and then at the very least what we did last year, and then see if we can add to it. And so that's how we're moving forward with Founders Day.
Oh,
Yeah, the last we heard from the health department that the mayor heard was if we have 100 active cases in the county, we can't hold the event. So
100.
And right now we have a whole lot more than that.
Yeah, I was going to
So-
say, wow.
yeah, that's why we're like, okay, we're gonna have 2 plans. We can be very, very hopeful, and then if not, we can maybe expand what we did last year.
So either way, we'll have Founder's Day. It just might be
Yes.
modified again, but you know, the cool thing is with doing it last year, we have good ideas that we can expand on and still be modified.
What happened to the flag thing that got sent out and people worked hard on these flags and then the city flag or something?
That's the Heritage Committee. That doesn't have anything to do with us, but they did vote on one and they presented it to the city. And my understanding with that flag, I guess they never released which one won, which maybe we should let the Heritage Committee that Jerry Burns kind of chairs that. He could let you guys know who won and, you know, and take the initiative to do that. And what was I just lost my train of thought. They would only bring that out like for Founder's Day, maybe, or something like that. That was their thing.
Okay.
So.
I just remember reading it and thinking, maybe I'll do that. And
Well,
then
you should have, Ashley. You would have done amazing. You're an artist. You should have.
I just was wondering if we would have a city flag to rally around. So
We've got a state flag, a nation's flag.
no, but there's lots of cities that have city flags.
We have a heritage flag.
Yes, we have a heritage flag.
I've seen city flag, have I?
It's kind of light. If you remember the renderings, I don't know if you remember, it's light blue in the background with kind of a shadow outline of Ben Lomond with a big orange sun.
Yes, I remember the flag. I'm saying it's not common to have a city flag.
There was a TED talk done by one of the members of the committee who happens to be a teacher at Loma View that shared the significance behind why you would want one. The general feeling among the council at the time was it's nice we wouldn't necessarily adopt a city flag, but we would have a heritage flag and bring it out during events.
Okay, that works.
So,
St. George is the only city that has a flag in Utah.
oh, really?
Did you look that up?
I think.
Did
it
you
was,
look that?
on that thing for the flag thing?
Huh.
And it, yeah, I think it's only St. George, and I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, weird. We won.
But there's off the flag idea though, there's some really cool things that might be possibly coming up soon that was kind of discussed. It was discussed in the city council meeting, so I can discuss it. It wasn't in a closed meeting about the Veterans Memorial. There's been some progress on that. So hopefully that would be kind of possibly, this is just my idea. I haven't discussed this with anybody, so just mine. You know, a few years back, how we did the cabin, you know, on Founder's Day. And part of that would be kind of cool if the Veterans Memorial thing was around Founder's Day. Or, you know, but I have no idea, and don't say that that's going to happen. So,
well, we're trying to move forward with it. So I would love to have that ready by then. So
Kevin showed us a drawing and it looks really, really cool. It looks
Where would it
awesome.
be? Where would it be located?
Right in front of the city office, or, you know, around the large pole.
part of the city hall.
Okay.
Yeah, picture Stonehenge, but half a circle. It's kind of Stonehenge-y. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and it has basically, I don't know if it's a statue or what, but for each branch of the military.
It's
And
kind
so-
of
Oh,
cool.
that's it.
It's kind of like what's the one on the National Mall, the World War II one?
It is kind of like that, but a much smaller scale.
Yes, much, much, much
Hope
smaller.
so.
Not to get your expectations really high and then you come, that's not quite.
But
what
it
I'm
looks
looking for.
cool. They're still
It
working
looks beautiful.
on, you know, a bit more funding and possibly going out to bid and things like that. So nothing finalized. And you know that the Orchard Spring Steak that did the Christmas parade around Christmas, because nobody could have any ward parties, that's kind of been brought up as a possible idea, bring the parade to you.
That
So,
was awesome. I liked that. And I didn't even know it was coming. And all of a sudden
right?
it was like Santa and my kids get these bells and candy. I'm like, I'm really glad I was outside.
But so that's just an idea, a possibility, nothing set in stone. We'll let you know more of things as they come along. But at the very least, it will look like last year. And at the very most, it will look like regular, or possibly somewhere in between.
Sarah, can you update us on the excavation contract, or what was in the city council as far as Skyline Drive? Where are we at?
I'm going to turn that over to Amy and
Amy,
have her address that.
So the main thing right now, we need to vet it out a little bit more with some of it. And so it's been tabled and we're going to be having further discussion. That's kind of where we're at. I know that's not incredibly helpful, but we've just kind of got to get our ducks in a row and figure out the I guess, steps that we need to do before we get there.
It's not going away, hopefully sooner than later. It has been tabled for either the 9th or the 16th. So there'll still be more discussion of February.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
And so it's definitely not going, we're moving forward in what ways we can and to try to take care of this.
Has all the property now been acquired?
And we really can't talk about that in a public meeting. Sorry.
Oh, that's probably why it's been tabled for now. Okay.
It's on a need to know basis only.
Well, it will come out once we get to where we can share. So how about that?
Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's good. I was just.
But the exciting part,
seeing it on the agenda, so I was just curious.
Good question. Very good question.
It was on the agenda, but we are not letting it go. We are moving forward, Julie, and we'll have more answers soon. So.
Yeah.
Hey,
You all.
Sarah, what about the clock? Whatever happened to that clock?
That clock is still sitting up in the shop and it's still broken.
Is it going to be set anywhere, fixed, repaired?
There was some discussion of the possibility of having it in a different location where Veterans Memorial was being considered. We haven't talked about it at all since then, really. And it's a possibility that I really don't know, Keith. I don't know where it's going to end up. I really don't.
I think that'd be a great thing to have it behind the memorial.
Yeah, it doesn't. We have 3 faces that work and 1 that doesn't. And to
So
fix
the one that doesn't work would face the city hall building.
And we'd probably want to put something else in place of it. There was some suggestion by some of the public works guys to make it a digital side or just some sort of logo side to not have to fix the whole thing, because the cost of fixing it would be really expensive.
Yep.
And so we still have it. It hasn't gone anywhere.
I think we ought to move forward on that. That has some history.
It does. Well, you should come and tell. I don't even know all the history of it.
I didn't know we had a clock.
I didn't either. That's why I was like, Jill.
It's from the Ogden City. Tell him about it. Keith knows more than anybody here because he works with facilities.
It was the clock that sat in front of the tabernacle.
That's a beautiful clock.
Yeah, and it was completely redone for the temple when it was remodeled. So they put some, was it granite or just concrete slabs? I think they was able to remove each one of those slabs, weren't they, Sarah? In whole?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was when, help me out, Ken Francis was on the city council and he was working as a security guard for the Ogden City Temple. And he says, hey, guess what? And Jerry Burns was on the city council too. We have this clock that the church, the LDS church is going to be getting rid of. Are you guys interested? But it actually, and it was free. The clock was free, but getting it cost us quite a bit of money because hauling it away and putting it up here, several $1,000s of getting it up here. And to fix it, it would be another several $1,000s, and to set it another several $1,000s. So it is a beautiful clock, and I'm sure we'll do something with it sometime. And maybe out here on the plaza, it would look really nice, by the city office.
What's the history of that clock?
Well, I thought it was
there, but.
Well, talking to Ken, he said it's not as old as we had originally thought. In my mind's eye, that clock had always been there for as long as I can remember.
I don't remember it as a kid when I used to go there.
I
Right.
remember.
And I thought that I did remember it, but I don't.
I
mean,
do.
it wasn't there in the
You
70s.
remember as a child, Julie?
I probably wasn't a child, but I remember it. Maybe not as a child, but I can remember it probably in my 20s and 30s. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
It's actually a beautiful clock, and
It is.
maybe
Very Victorian, antiquish.
yeah, maybe it could be a fundraiser, something in the city. You know, the city doesn't need to pay for everything. I mean,
That's a great idea.
There might be citizen, who knows, maybe we are lucky.
Come up with
somebody
a
knows
really
about
good
6
story.
clocks, you know?
If we can find out the really good details of the history of the clock, that would make it all the more endearing for people to want to contribute. So,
No, I don't know. Just ask people to contribute. You'll see it come in. You'll have enough to put everywhere you want it.
maybe it depends. The
That's
better the
just how-
story.
That's true. We got to make it more interesting, and I agree. I just like to see it up there personally.
It would be, it actually would fit with the colonial look of this building and stuff that we have in the front.
And it would be a nice, at the same time you put up the memorial for the veterans, that you install that as well. So the whole thing comes up at once.
I will bring that to the council, mention it, and because we really haven't talked about that clock in, I don't even think we've mentioned it since Dave and Ann have been on the city council. So over a year.
I think maybe getting an estimate on what it would be to repair the clock would be.
I think Tyson got one. I'll have to get it from him. I think he actually looked into it.
Okay, because that would be the good starting spot. Because I mean, if the clock can't be repaired, then
yeah, I'll find out. I'll look into it with Tyson and see what he has on it, and then share that information with the council and the desires.
But the 3 sides work fine, right? The 3 sides that work, they work fine.
I think so. I'll double check with Tyson again. I know one side is completely broken, and he told me just the other day, I don't know how it came up. He actually brought up the clock the other day that the one side would cost probably as much to fix as it would to install, and he told me that it was quite expensive to go get the clock and haul it up here. So anyway, I
But it won't
can't
be
remember.
nearly as expensive to.
Where is it right now?
Our own
The
staff could
shop.
do that.
I point there because I'm in the city council chambers. It's in the shop.
All right. I think we're,
I make a motion that we dismiss the quorum tonight.
You guys,
a second.
wait,
Okay.
real quick. If you want to see that new building, you're welcome to come and see it. It's done. There you go.
Okay, really fast. There are 2 other flags in Utah, Provo and Salt Lake City. Correcting
Oh.
my. All right, now we can end.
There you go. All right.
Guys.
We'll see you all. Thank you very much.
Good
See
night.
you
You
next
guys
week,
are
I guess.
awesome.
All right,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Guys.
Night.
Night.